Hi, this is BritSimon. It might be that we've got more visas available for the Green Card Lottery in DV 2020 and beyond. Let's get into that. Okay, so what's all this about? Well, if you read the instructions for the Diversity Visa program, DV 2020, this year, like other years, for as long as I've been doing this since 2013 or so, the amount of visas that are being made available are always discussed as 50,000 visas being made available. And if you read through the instructions, as I'm sure you all did, right? But if you read through the instructions, you'll also have read the frequently asked questions. And there is a place towards the end of the FAQ on this document that talks about how many visas will be issued in DV 2020. It refers to the original law that established the diversity visa program as being a maximum of 55,000 visas, but then there being a reduction in that 55,000 number for the NICARA program. All right. Now, the NICARA program was introduced in the late 90s, and it is a separate program of an allocation of visas that takes 5,000 visas of the 55,000 visas each year that was originally established by law, leaving the effective limit for visas for the DV program is 50,000 visas. That's been going on for a number of years. Um, for as long as I've been involved in the DV lottery program, there's been a sort of a constant questioning about whether the NICARA program was still taking all of those 5,000 visas. And the research I did several years ago showed that the NICARA program had a natural reduction in the number of people that were eligible for that program, meaning that the 5,000 visas were not being taken every year. So that led to a position where we were unclear about what the actual limit of number of visas that could be issued for the diversity green card lottery each year. Was it 50,000? Was it something just above 50,000? Was it 55,000? And each year we're a little bit unclear about that. But each year the program instructions refer back to 50,000 visas being available. Now, this year, as a friend of mine pointed out, there was a change in the wording. And Susie, let me find Susie's comment. And so this was Susie's comment explaining the differences that she saw. So she's referring to this being the normal year, where it talks about 50,000 in the Diversity Visa 2019 lottery, and this is the letter that is sent out to winners. It's an excerpt from the letter saying that there are 55,000 visas available this year. So when they told us in the 1NLs, the congratulations you are selected letter, when they told us how many visas were available in that letter, they've referred to the original 55,000 number, whereas in previous years they've always been talking about the 50,000 number. So that was intriguing, but as I debated with Susie, it wasn't quite enough. Kill that. It wasn't quite enough from my point of view to say that the program has definitely ended, and I was expecting some sort of announcement, and I really wanted some sort of other corroboration. Okay, so I continued this conversation with Susie, but there's been nothing up to now in terms of corroboration. This was a few weeks ago. Okay, so since then, there's been an interesting development. There's a gentleman from the Department of State called Charlie Oppenheim. He is a senior employee at the Department of State, and he every month he talks about the visa bulletin. So the visa bulletin is issued, and then he makes himself available to various lawyers, etc., interested in immigration, to have a conversation about the visa bulletin, and he makes predictions and explains the progress. Generally speaking, that progress is important to be discussed about the family-based categories, the employment-based categories, and he talks about what will be happening for those categories in terms of their priority dates and their availability of visas. But this last month, around about 2 weeks ago, in an interview with at least one lawyer, and I believe there are more that interviewed him at that time, he also made some comments about the diversity visa lottery, and he doesn't often do that, but in this case he has done that. And this is the bit that I'm particularly interested in. It says, since 1999, as we know, 5,000 DV numbers were offset to support the NACARA program, as I just explained. As there are very few remaining NACARA matters going into 2020, the vast majority of these previously diverted 5,000 numbers will once again be available for usage under the DV program. Now, that is what I've long suspected. That is what I've checked with looking at the numbers of the NACARA program to see how many visas were being made available through then. But this is the first time that I've seen a somewhat official response to a question with regard to the diversity visa lottery and the NACARA program, and it seems to be a very positive response that would say that allocation of 5,000 numbers will no longer be reserved for the NACARA program, meaning that the diversity visa program would again be able to use up to 55,000 visas rather than the 50,000 visas. That's effectively a 10% increase. What would that mean for everyone? Well, that would mean that there's 10% more visas available in each region. It wouldn't be going to one region or another. There is an allocation between the regions, but it would mean that everybody's allocation could be considered slightly higher. Now, we have debated this before with various experts in the diversity visa area. This isn't particularly a new thing in a sense, but what is new is to see this official talking about this change. And I would expect to see, with this sort of change being discussed, I would expect to see future lottery instructions start to talk about 55,000 visas, and I would expect us to have a more reliable expectation that 55,000 visas could be used in DV 2020 and DV 2021. So it's extremely good news for DV 2020 winners. It reassures me that the predictions I've made that most regions should go current, will have plenty of visas. It makes me more confident than I was, and I was already somewhat confident, that there would be a second draw in DV 2020. So look for that later on this year. Look, you can check again if you're not a selectee. You can check again in October. And I think it's good news for everybody to think that might be a possibility. So fingers crossed. I hope this is going to be the case. I hope we are going to see 55,000 visas available. It certainly will make life a little bit easier for everybody, a little bit less stressful. And considering the numbers of selectees this year, it makes it much more likely that we're going to see current in each of the regions. I'm still concerned, by the way, about the 7% limit, particularly in Egypt. But that 7% limit isn't 7% of 5,000, it would be 7% of 55,000. So that would be somewhat helpful. Okay, just one last thing I want to point out. People may ask, has this ever happened? Have we seen the 50,000 number exceeded before? This is the official report from the DV Lottery Statistics. It gives every country's allocation of visas that were issued in each year through the diversity program. This is not what they're promised to get, this is what they actually got, right? And you can see there are some years which exceeded the 50,000 numbers, okay? So 2010, 2011 did so, 2013 and 2014 did, but recent years have been held below the 50,000 number. So if KCC are thinking 50,000 is the target, they'll try and shoot for a number just under that. But if they are starting to feel more confident that 55,000 is the number, then I'm hoping that they'll be shooting for a slightly higher number, and therefore will make all regions current and possibly add those additional selectees. So that's the explanation. I hope that's interesting to you. If you like my videos, please do subscribe to my channel. There's plenty more information. I'm still creating a number of videos which will help you through the process, and I'll keep you updated. So please subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, click like. It helps me get my message out to as many people as possible through the channel. And of course, you can find information on my blog where I'll answer questions that you may have on my blog. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great day. Bye bye.